everyone. Welcome to Clean Greens Living, broadcasted here live on Rainier Avenue Radio. It is your girl, Queen Bri, and Christina here. How's it going, Christina? We can hear you. Are you on mute?
Hello?
There we go. There
Okay.
we go. Yay, Christina's in
Doing
the house.
well. Happy Tuesday. How are you, Bri?
Happy to. I can't believe it's already Tuesday. How was it already Tuesday? It was just Friday.
I can't believe it's July 25th.
Oh my God. Now that I can't, I feel like July just maybe for us because we have all these birthdays. That's why I feel
That are over. Whew.
oh, Lord. I just gotta praise it real quick. For those of you who do not know, me and Christina, we both have birthdays all of July. Like for me, I know it's every week I have a birthday. And 1 week is twice a week. So I have a 4th of July, 11th, 18th, and 23rd. And then I'm exhausted. My birthday is in 2 weeks.
Oh, and then yours comes.
Yeah.
I didn't
I don't
realize that.
yeah.
I thought it was
I'm
just
not
the kids.
no, then mine's come in August. And then we have a couple of weeks break and then Samara's in September.
Okay.
Yeah. And, needless to say, I'm not planning my birthday. I'm like, whatever the chips may fall, I won't even be mad if nothing gets done. I cannot plan another thing. I can't.
Well, that's a nice gift to give yourself.
Yeah. Yes. Yes. But I did make sure that the gifts are coming in. I'm still accepting gifts. I'm just not planning nothing. Sorry, y'all. Let's open this up in this space with the land acknowledgement.
We acknowledge that we are on the traditional land of the first people of Seattle, the Coast Salish past and present, and honor with gratitude the land itself, and the Duwamish, Suquamish, Nisqually, Snoqualmie, and Muckleshoot tribes. We also acknowledge what has happened on this land to impact the lives of the Black community in Seattle due to redlining. The systemic and oppressive mechanism of anti Black racism enacted by the white leaders, politicians, business people, and others rob Black families of the opportunity to build and pass down generational wealth. To share your own story of home or land loss in the central area of Seattle, please contact us here at Clean Greens on behalf of the Black Dollar Days Task Force, King County Reparations Project, www.blackdollardaystaskforce.org, or cleangreensfarmmarket.com. You can call or email us. Thank you.
All right, guys. Just so many. Let's see where I start. So announcements. Our CSAs are live and popping. If you guys want to be a CSA, please visit us at www.cleangreensfarmmarket.com. We have 3 shares: single, small, large. Beautiful produce. Our youth program it's live in effect, and it keeps growing. It's so beautiful how it's just I can't even the farm started off just during the pandemic, I think the youth farm during the pandemic, and it's like 3 years later and we are up to like 20 kids, and now we have our own farm space. We have just a few more spaces available. I think it's like 6 spaces available if you know of anyone ages 5 to 18 that wants to come out and experience farming. They get a biweekly stipend. We have volunteer opportunities coming up. So if you want to be a volunteer, please email us at, am I speaking too fast? Am I going too fast? Should I let it sink in? Volunteers needed. Volunteers needed. Please email me at blackdollarcleangreens@gmail.com. Email me, please, if you want to be a volunteer. If you have my personal phone number, please do not text me about volunteers because I will forget to come back to it. But if you email me, I will remember. Email. All right. So we look forward to having you. We have 3 different opportunity spaces for you to come volunteer. We have our Duval Farm, we have our South Shore Garden, and we have our Amy Yee garden. And I hear that we're supposed to be getting a delivery this week so we can start planting more beds. And I'm super
Oh,
excited about that. I
okay.
can't wait to get our herb garden planted. So within the next few days, we should have that. And look, sorry, Christina, you're finding this out just now. It's not
I was like,
purpose.
oh, yay.
It's not purpose. It was just like in the midst of planning schedules and reaching out, that's how I found out because I was like, we need this. And shout out to Seattle Parks, Paris and Marin who helped make this possible. Just been thinking about looking at the land from where it started, and maybe we'll talk more about that in the next week or so. Just looking at the land of where it started and to where we are now, it's completely different. So
Yeah.
yes, please, if you're wanting to volunteer and help out, if you want to help with our youth program, you all is welcome, but you will have to do a background check because we are all about protecting our youth. Am I missing anything? How are you feeling so far? This is your first season with us. It feels like 20 years, but this is your first season.
20 years.
How's
It
it
does
going?
it's going really well. It doesn't seem like it's been a year, and I'm kinda sad this summer is flying by because I'm having a lot of fun.
Yeah, it is flying by. But the beauty of it is if we can't stretch the farm, we still have our gardens in Seattle that we
Mm,
can still do this. And I do have to give a shout out and let you know that through Clean Greens we get funding and we have to do reports. And one of the people did say that they are happy with what we're doing even throughout the school with this youth. And Christina has been one of those people that has been working with the youth. So I just
mhm.
want to share that with you and share that with everyone that
Thank
it
you.
doesn't just stop with the youth in the summer. There's the youth is composed of many different schools, so not all the same youth come back, but we are still teaching the youth, and we're going to continue to teach the youth during the year. So excited that we had that field trip before. So
Mhm,
yeah,
and don't forget the shout out the Franklin or Cleveland students that gave us the starts.
Cleveland students that
Cleveland,
gave us
okay.
or was it Roosevelt? We should know these things. I think it
I'm
was
not from
Roosevelt.
Seattle.
No,
I
don't be
get
putting
those
it on me,
schools
girl. No, I think it
confused
was
all the
Roosevelt.
time. Oops.
Look, we gonna get our ducks in a row. We're gonna come back next week and we're gonna thank them. But
It's the one on Beacon Hill by the VA with the
that
greenhouse.
oh, I gotta look into that. But also we
Okay.
have more youth from Lakeside coming to the farm this week. That I've been
Okay,
trying to
and they helped us. Yes,
yes, this time it's high schoolers though. So
nice.
we're gonna have high schoolers for 2 days helping us out Thursday, Friday.
'Cause the 7th graders were on it, so, whoa, we're about
I
to be
was
blown away by the high schoolers.
blown away by them kids. I'm scared to meet the high schoolers. They're gonna know way more than me. They could be educating us. But yeah, so we're just so excited. Shout out to Lakeside who's coming in, and I've been trying to tell you guys all week, but every time I call you guys about something, something else takes precedent. So then I can't tell you guys that they're coming down. So yeah, so they'll be here.
Awesome.
All right, so guys, we did some catching up. Christina, you were enjoying yourself. You're look, blink twice if you need help, Christina. You're enjoying yourself with Clean Grease from.
I am enjoying myself. This is the best job I've ever had. I am in heaven.
Nice, good, good. And it's nice to see. I could tell Amy, you told it to make it my baby, but you done stole my baby girl. But I see the joy that you have when you're doing it. So thank you.
Thanks.
So we're gonna bring our guest on. We had a talk that I just really thoroughly enjoyed a couple weeks ago about the tree ordinance. And we have Cedar back with his mom Jessica to just further talk about the tree ordinance and where we stand in the ordinance, like what was passed and what's positive about this ordinance and what is happening. Where are we at in the tree ordinance? So everyone, please welcome Cedar and his mother Jessica on.
Thanks
Hi.
for having us.
No problem. Well, you know what? Thank you guys for even reaching out and talking about this. I have been talking about this tree ordinance from what I've learned so far since we've had this conversation. You want to tell us about what the ordinance is again? Like refresh people who haven't seen the show what it is.
Okay. Yeah, briefly, there's a lot of people, a lot of really good people like Tree Pack and other organizations, arborists, people with the Urban Forestry Commission, people who really care about trees that have been working really hard to get these tree protections passed. And they put together this great ordinance. And then 2 days before it was up for vote in front of the full city council, it was basically gutted. They took a chainsaw to it and made loopholes big enough to drive a logging truck through it, which for developers, the Master Builders Association had proposed all of these amendments, nearly 50 of them. So there was a pretty substantial change in the law as it was written to how it was when it got passed. They kind of did the same thing they did to Carmen Best. So I guess you could say we got bested here. Kind of like one of those last minute changes. So there is a lot of stuff in there that's good. I don't think that it's worth scrapping the whole ordinance, but I've kind of been looking into kind of the impacts about how what that means for frontline communities specifically. We live down in South Park.
Can I
I'm
have
sorry.
you slow down just real quick? I mean, I get it. Like when we come on here, we get nervous, but just I get nervous every week, and I do this. I've been doing the show for a while. Um, let's talk about the tree ordinance. What is it, and who is it protecting? What is it protecting, and why?
Well, okay, so that gets kind of complicated, and I'll try not to be nervous, and I'll try to talk a little slower. But the tree ordinance was designed or intended to protect the Seattle's tree canopy because there's been a bunch of studies done, and the city established a goal of 30% canopy coverage by 2037. And so they had a big study that was done. They kind of used the radar and the LiDAR to figure out where the trees were and kind of like take that and realize, I think at that point we had about 28% coverage in the aggregate all over the whole city. And I'll get to that, but that's part of the problem because in a neighborhood like Beacon Hill or the Central District or Rainier Valley or the Duwamish River Valley where we are, like for instance, in my neighborhood, we have, I think about 12% canopy coverage. So Seattle can reach the 30% canopy coverage goal for the city in the aggregate, but in the meantime, they're kind of like sacrificing these frontline communities in order to do so. They're kind of like giving up on us and saying that, I guess they're kind of directing some of the fees that they will be collecting off of developers when they cut larger trees, because that's this legislation does protect trees that are on private property, and I want to be clear about that. It really does, but the loopholes are for properties in development. So basically, it doesn't apply to these trees during the development process or the redevelopment process, which so that's when they're coming in. Redevelopment is gentrification. That's the nice word for it, is they call it redevelopment. So you see that when a house.
Quick question. So what you're saying is it's about the trees and exactly where the trees are going and what neighborhoods. And do they have a definition of what a frontline neighborhood is? I never knew. Like, what is a frontline neighborhood?
That's a good question. And I'm using that term because it kind of covers a whole bunch of things. Frontline communities are the communities that have experienced environmental and racial injustices that has been compounded, the redlining that has taken place, a lot of that stuff. So these frontline communities are the ones that are basically we're also on the front of the climate change because, without those trees, it's going to impact our neighborhoods a lot more. So
that's good. Sorry, if you could talk about the importance of the tree canopy, like what that does in the environment and in the community.
Yeah, well, I mean, you all know how nice it is to sit underneath a big tree in the shade, and how important that is for your gardens to have that. It helps protect the soil, stormwater. There's a lot of health benefits. And actually, I want to stop for just a second and say, first of all, I'm kind of a fangirl. You guys are awesome. I love what you're doing, and you're doing it, and you have been doing it, and
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Yeah, that's I meant to start with that, but then I got a lot nervous. I'm still nervous.
It's okay. Like you could take breaths. And I'm just saying this because I swear, you guys, before I get on the show, I am pumping myself up and put it on music because I'm like, I'm nervous.
Well, and I'm at the hospital today too, with my sweetie who's getting some scans and stuff done. So, and you know, that kind of feeds into why the trees are important because they help clean the air. There's a lot of pollutants, as you know, in lower income neighborhoods. They tend to concentrate industries and maybe not regulate them as well. So,
and
like,
I think I recently also heard that they cool their, you know, because we're dealing with the hottest temperatures on record. Tree canopies cool the earth.
That is so important, especially
microclimates, right?
Yeah, it's critical. I mean, you go up to the north end and it's a couple degrees cooler up there. You know, you walk under a tree, it can be up to 10 degrees cooler. They keep moisture in the air, and that's critically important. It's critically important to health and human well-being. You know, our mental health, our physical health. I mean, trees are the perfect solution for so many of the problems that we're facing right now. And the irony that this is like, you know, just after the hottest week in Earth's history, that, you know, in human history, it just seems, you know, it's just frustrating that they are protecting trees by allowing the developers to cut them all down in order to meet the affordable housing agenda. And we need affordable housing. We need truly affordable housing. So one of the things that you commonly see is neighborhoods that have been targeted for redevelopment. They will come in and they'll remove truly affordable housing and replace it with affordable housing that's 60% of or 80% of area median income. And I got to be honest with you, I don't know very many people that make that much money. It seems a really high amount to me to, you know, so.
I agree.
Yeah, there's a huge bunch of people that are being displaced and left out, you know, just because based on the changes that are happening and the, okay, slow down. Nervous again.
You know what? While you're slowing down, let me do if you're just tuning in, you're tuning into Clean Greens Living Live, broadcasted here on Rainier Avenue Radio. I'm your host, Queen Bri. We are here with Christina Chambers, Jessica, and Cedar Bush. They're here to talk to us about tree ordinance. And I also want to let you guys know that Rainier Avenue Radio is a people-oriented media outlet dedicated to amplifying the diverse of voices in our community. We are asking you to make a difference and invest in our independent organization so that we can continue to enrich our communities through the programs that you love. We are kicking off our summer campaign to support Rainier Avenue Radio until August 1st. We are asking that you make a gift in support of our work. Go to rainieravenueradio.world.com, click to donate. Every gift makes a difference. So please, you guys, go ahead and check that out for us. Thank you. So, Jessica, walk me through. Okay, so you said, so we're talking about trees, everyone, how trees affect our neighborhood, and not every neighborhood has a sufficient amount of trees. And so there was a tree ordinance that was put together, and before it went into council, it was gutted. Some of the things were gutted. So can you just tell us some of the positive things that were going on, and then what happened? What did they change in it? And just keep in mind, we got about 10, 15 minutes, you guys. So I just really want to make sure that we get the information out.
Okay, so one of the most destructive changes that was kind of pushed in at the last minute is they changed how they calculate how much of the lot can be hardscape, which would be like non-permeable surfaces. Being gardeners, you know how important those permeable surfaces are because that's where the water goes. Otherwise, where does it go? Into the storm drains, a lot of other things. So they've changed the rule to be like, they call it the 85-15 rule. So they can do clear up to, or not clear, excuse me, they can clear 100% of the lot if they need to do that to get up to the 85% lot coverage. So for instance, there might be a tree that they could build around. They might not even use that area, but they can. And it's pretty easy for them to do. There's some fees that have been put into place that in lieu of fees that is supposed to go to plant new trees in what they call like the I can't remember, the low canopy neighborhoods is what they call it. So they're directing all that, and they think that they can plant their way to 30%, and it's just not possible.
You mentioned South Park before?
Yeah, that's where I live. And I mean, if you go to South Park, most of our parks are actually not parks, they're chained off gravel lots. We're supposed to get parks down there, but they took everything out, then they chain it up, and because the campers were coming in. So we have areas that could be green spaces and parks, but these low canopy neighborhoods, part of the reason they're low canopy is that there aren't public areas where they have parks in those green spaces. For instance, if I want to walk the dog, I have to get in my car and drive somewhere for my dog to be able to run through the woods. There's no place nearby where I can do that. And that's just an example of well-being. So
has a tree ordinance been passed, or is it still being
yes,
voted on?
Yes, it has. They passed it, and it's gone into effect. So I don't know if you've kind of been paying attention to the news about the tree sitter up in Wedgwood. There's an enormous cedar tree up there that is just, I mean, all big trees are majestic, and this tree is amazing. It's been there forever, and conifers are especially important because they don't go dormant in the wintertime like deciduous trees do. So they're doing their job, cleaning the air and all the rest of that stuff, all 365 days a year. So the evergreens are even more important. So there's somebody up there now sitting in a tree, and there's a lot of attention on this issue now. The problem is we don't often find out about that until it's too late. Like I can't tell you how many times in my neighborhood it's like I leave in the morning and I come back in the afternoon. It's like, whoa, there was a house there. What happened to it? They just come in and they're able to clear these lots so quickly, and without knowing what's happening in advance, there's no way to, get tree sitters in other areas.
Is there anything that we can do now that the tree ordinance has been passed? Is there anything that we can do to help with the awareness of this?
Yeah, I think that it's just kind of like so Cedar and I are setting up it's kind of like ad hoc. We're going by flying by night here, but Project Lorax is what we're calling ourselves, and so we actually have an email set up. That's it so far. The Project Lorax at runbox.com. There's a lot of tools that people, if they know about it, you can go and look and see what building permits have been issued in your neighborhood. For instance, you can take a look at the plans. You can see who's buying the lots, but most people don't know how to access that information. So part of what I really want to do is pump out that, so that put the information in the hands of people who can actually use it and know, okay, they're going to be cutting a tree down here because the legislation is passed. It is what it is. And we're kind of stuck with it. But, do we have to roll over and say that's just the way it is? I don't think so. I think we can still fight. I would really love to get that information out, and, so people have the ability to kind of look into what's going on in their neighborhood and finding out, what lots are being redeveloped and, what's being targeted. Because a lot of times you don't find out until it's already underway and there's nothing that you can do about it. And I think at this point, the direct action is probably our best way to do it. Is, we can try to work within the system, but there's so many cards stacked against us to do that. The Master Builders Association has like really expensive law firm, ready to jump in at any time you try to do something in the city council, showing up for the meetings there and stuff like that. It's like, they're basically kind of, well, I don't want to say anymore because I don't want to be sued for libel, but but yeah, they are. Cedar pointed out they're the second biggest lobby group in America. So they're trying to build their way out of a housing crisis and plant their way into this 30% canopy coverage. And I just want to emphasize that part of the problem with that is that when they pass this legislation, and this is really maybe what is most important, that our city, our elected officials, the city council, the mayor have consistently stated that they have these initiatives for the race and social justice. Sorry, I always screw that up. It's hard to say. And environmental justice, canopy coverage, equality, all these things. And when they passed this legislation, they had some really lovely recitations in there saying how all of these they're going to, focus on the needs of low income and high priority neighborhoods. And this legislation is the chance to fix that. And there's nothing in there at all that helps out or is directed at, neighborhoods like ours. And I think that one of the things that I'd like to see is preserving the canopy that already exists in neighborhoods that are already at a deficit. So like if you're at 12% coverage and they take out many of those trees, then you're working backwards. You're never going to get to 30% in a neighborhood like mine if they're allowing the trees to continually be cut. And they need to be there to protect the young saplings, because trees don't last forever. At some point they're going to become old and need to be taken down. But in the meantime, how long does it take to grow a 60-year-old tree? 60 years. So
I'm sorry to cut you off, but that is our time. But can you just let us know again? It's the Lorax at, what was your email again to keep updated with this information?
Yeah, it's Project Lorax at runbox.com. That's runbox.com. And we try to choose an email server that's not Google. It's in Norway, so they're it's clean. Their climate pledges, I researched it. They're good on that. So, people just need to keep supporting businesses like yours, organizations. That's what we need to do. We need to take care of ourselves and our own communities, and we need the tools to be able to do that. And so I'd like to, just push out some of that information and show people how they can look to see what's going on, and get ahead of the ball instead of always being behind it.
Thank you.
So that is my hope.
And I just want to leave us with, we see things happening in our community. Like she said, this is why Clean Greens is here, to bring education in community. And there, even when it seems like things are against us and we don't have a way out, there's always a power in coming together as a community.
You are so right about that. You guys, look what you've done. I mean, I didn't know anything about Clean Greens until Cedar clued me in, and I kind of looked into your program and what you're doing with the youth and with the, feeding people healthy food and teaching people all about that. Yeah, we need to rely on ourselves, and that community is so important. And I just admire that you guys are out there doing the work, and it's very cool.
We appreciate you. We appreciate you. And we definitely appreciate Cedar for this connection and this talk. We would love to keep you guys in contact and connections with us. Thank you guys all for joining in to Clean Greens Living, broadcasting here live on Rainier Avenue Radio. It is time for me and Christina to get back in these trenches.